This is the second time you're having a Britain winning Tour de France back to back, and of course, it's also the first time after the Lance Armstrong's doping saga.
I think it's a difficult one because I think there's a lot of belief in Chris Froome. There's also a lot of belief in the man behind Team Sky, a gentleman called Sir Dave Brailsford, who, has masterminded the success of Sir Bradley Wiggins. He's masterminded the success of Chris Froome this time around. And they do that very much on the basis that they are a clean team. They're a team that are going to do the little things to get gains rather than to cheat. So, they make sure they have the best bus. They make sure that they have the opportunity to get to the hotel before any other team afterwards. They sleep on the right beds. They sleep in the same beds. They eat the right food. So they do it millimetre by millimetre. Second by second, they improve themselves. So I think the attitude across the UK has been very much about the fact that, it's a great thing to now have a winning streak in the Tour de France. It took 99 years to get the first one, and all of a sudden, 1 year on, we have two. So good times, and the prediction is Chris Froome could be right at the very top of Tour de France cycling for maybe the next 5-6 years.
Chris Froome, he's the first cyclist winning it after the Lance Armstrong doping saga. How are they taking it? Because he said he was tested close to 20 times, and people keep asking questions, is it clean?
I think Chris Froome is somebody who is adamant he is clean, and if you listen to what he said on the Champs-Élysées when he stood there and made his winner's speech, he said, "This is the yellow jersey that will stand the test of time." And by that he means that you test me as many times as you want, and in 20 years, if you've got new testing methods, you can go through everything all over again. I will be clean. I am a rider who is clean. And all the way through this tour, questions, particularly from the French media, have come to him saying that there's no way you can produce the level of performance that he has and be a clean rider. They compared him to Lance Armstrong, and he's come through with flying colours. And I think that's the biggest thing. The head of his team today, Brailsford, said that this is an era now that has a new generation of riders. And Chris Froome is the right man to lead the new generation of clean riders into that next level and the next opportunities that they'll have.
When did he join Team Sky, and how long was he in Africa?
Well, Chris Froome grew up in Kenya. He's a Kenyan. He was there early on in his life before eventually he moved to South Africa. And it was in South Africa that he got a real love for cycling. And it was only when he got a little bit older that he became more involved in Britain and within the UK. And that's when he decided he wanted to become a British rider. He's been with Team Sky since its inception, 24 months ago, something like that. And he's been a key part of that team. Now, you may remember last year, he was the guy that dragged Bradley Wiggins up those mountains. He was the guy that got him to the end of the race. And very much at that time, people were talking about Chris Froome being the best rider in the Tour de France, but Bradley Wiggins was always going to win it. So I think he's answered some of those criticisms. But it's interesting to hear him talk now when he discusses the fact that when he was a boy in South Africa, he was able to watch the Tour de France on the television, and he was somebody that has now been able to live the dream, really, of standing on the podium on the Champs-Élysées with the mileage on his shoulders.